Your future self is waiting for you. Keep going. The version of you who feels free, strong, and at peace, they exist. They're out there, waiting, hoping you'll keep showing up. Keep moving forward. Don't quit before you meet them. In this story, we'll talk about the power of perseverance, the vision of your future self, and why stopping now means missing out on who you're meant to become. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. There's a version of you out there in the future, living a life you can only dream of right now, and they are strong, confident, free. They've made it through the struggles you're facing today. They've learned, they've healed, they've grown into the person you know deep down you're capable of becoming. And they are waiting for you. Don't quit before you meet them. In my experience, there have been moments where I felt completely stuck, moments where I questioned everything, where I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm not meant for. In my experience, there have been moments where I felt completely stuck, moments where I questioned everything, where I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm not meant for more. I've had nights where I sat in silence, wondering if all this effort, all this struggle was even worth it. And you know what kept me going? The thought that maybe, just maybe, the person I wanted to be was on the other side of this moment. That my future self wasn't just some far-off idea, however, a real possibility. So I kept showing up, I kept moving forward, even when I had no proof it would pay off. And every single time I pushed through, I got a little closer to the version of me I always hoped was possible. Here's some truths. Your future self isn't just a wish. They're a reality, a version of you that exists if you decide to keep going. They've overcome what you're struggling with right now. The heartbreak, the self-doubt, the fear. You think this is where the story ends, but they already know it's just a chapter. And they're rooting for you. Every single step you take, every time you refuse to quit, every time you choose to rise instead of retreat, that's a step closer to them. And they embody your potential. They are the sum of every small action, every difficult choice, every moment of courage you're putting in right now. Some insights I've learned that can help change how you see this. Look into the compound effect. Tiny, consistent actions add up over time. Every choice you make today shapes who you will be tomorrow. You don't need to leap forward, you just need to keep stepping. Consider visualization. Studies show that people who actively picture their future selves make better decisions in the present. If you could sit down with your future self, what would you say to you right now? And think about identity shift. The fastest way to change your life? Stop seeing yourself as someone who's struggling and start seeing yourself as someone who overcomes. Your future self isn't a stranger. They're you, just further down the path. So let's try to reframe all this. What if the challenges you're facing aren't obstacles, but stepping stones? What if every setback is just a setup for a comeback? And what if the only thing standing between you and your future self is your decision to keep moving? So here's some advice. Visualize your future self. Spend 5 minutes a day imagining them. What do they look like? How do they feel? What advice would they give you right now? And take one small step today. It doesn't have to be huge. One decision, one action, one commitment to move closer, even if it's just 1%. Journal for your future self. Write a letter to them. Or better yet, Imagine they are writing to you. What would they say? Surround yourself with stories of resilience. Listen to people who've been where you are. Let their stories remind you that transformation is always possible. Here's your takeaway. Don't quit before you meet the version of you who's waiting at the end of this journey. They need you to keep showing up. They need you to believe that what you're doing right now matters. Your future self is not just a dream, they are a destiny, a version of you that exists if you choose to keep going. So take one more step, even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if you're unsure, because the person you're becoming is worth fighting for. If this story spoke to you, send it to someone else who needs it. Let's remind each other that we are always in motion, always moving towards something greater. Your future self is waiting. Keep going. And my final thought after all this, the difference between who you are and who you want to be is the choice you make today, right now.